It's a lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight: 3 people die in a fatal road accident. Gears Initiative describes as unfortunate the arrest of PF candidate. FFTUZ demands for informal businesses to bid for government contracts. And in international news, Cape Verde votes for president on Sunday. And in sports news, young Copper Queens to face Congo in the 3rd round.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Hello once again, another news in detail. The Federation of Free Trade Unions in Zambia, FFTUZ, says the agenda to create decent employment opportunities for all Zambians by 2030 will depend on the sustainability of jobs created. In an interview with Camnet News, FFTUZ President Mr. Chingati Msiska says there is need to organize jobs such as carpentry and plumbing to make competitive for government contracts. Meanwhile, in a separate interview with Camnet News, the various skilled workers have called on the new administration to work around bringing decency to their line of work. We have details in this report.
Quality of most jobs in the country has often come under scrutiny, as while most jobs in the informal sector are able to keep families from starving, most of them are not sustainable. At the center of the country's dream of being elevated from a low income to a middle income status is the creation of decent jobs. The Federation of Free Trade Unions in Zambia, FTTUZ, has described decent jobs as those that are sustainable. Federation President Mr. Chingati Msiska, in an interview with Camnet News, has called for better organization of skilled workers such as carpenters, plumbers, as well as welders, to ensure that local skilled workers have better opportunities in obtaining government contracts.
You know, a job can only be decent when it's sustainable, and there is job security, and also there is some kind of improvement on whatever somebody is doing. So I think it's a matter that needs to be looked at so seriously. And in a nutshell, most of these jobs can only be decent when they are sustainable. And also we need to instill in the members or in the workers who are doing every job security. You know, there has to be social security.
Meanwhile, skilled workers from various lines of work have spoken out, expressing the need to have their jobs improved in order to make them more sustainable.
Access to contracts. If we can have access to contracts, then we can boost our business and employ more youths to come on board.
We have a very big gap between the carpenters and the government. You know, we are experienced and we are learned. We have papers in this work, but unfortunately we don't acquire those big contracts in the government. As you understand, the government is undertaking lots of construction, and they are like of schools. All those constructions, they do need the furnitures, and it's our desire as carpenters to get connected to the government so much that we acquire those contracts and we uplift our livelihoods as youths.
Stakeholders in the labor movement have been indicating the need for reforms to see the transformation of jobs in Zambia. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Simonston Building Chief Executive Officer Chitambala Mwewa has told Camnet News that an electrical fault has been established to be behind the inferno that swept part of the building Friday evening. Mr. Mwewa has explained that properties in one of the shops where the fire started have been destroyed, and that a quick response from the Lusaka City Council Fire Brigade unit managed to stop the fire from spreading to other shops. Mr. Mwewa says the Simonston building is old and that plans to renovate the structure are underway to avoid the recurrence of such accidents. We have more in this report.
15th October 2021 at around 21 hours, Simson building belonging to a social media vlogger Simon Chitambala Mwewa was reported to have been gutted by fire. This morning, the Camnet TV crew who visited the scene found the owner, Mr. Chitambala, trying to clean up the damages caused by the fire. And in an interview, Mr. Chitambala has explained that preliminary investigations have established that an electric fault in one of the shops caused the fire, which has damaged the properties in the said shop. He, however, says a quick response from the fire brigade prevented the fire from spreading to other parts of the building.
Preliminary investigations were carried out by the fire department, and they have informed me that the cause of fire was an electrical short circuit, faulty wiring that was located within the shop. The origin of the fire came out of one of the electrical shops. When I say electrical shops, I mean it's a shop that deals with electrical repairs. They repair phones, computers, things like that. So after the fire department investigated, the preliminary investigations suggest and they show that it was electrical faulty wiring and it was an electrical short circuit. That was the cause of the fire.
And Mr. Chitambala says Simson building is old and needs renovations in order to prevent future reoccurrence of such disasters.
We have been in the process, actually a year from now, the section of the building that's located behind me will be completely torn down, redesigned, rewired, and rebuilt. And because as you know, this building is a very old building. Simson building is 33 years old, and it's antiquated, and it needs more than a facelift. It needs a complete overhaul, which is what we're working on, and we're going to do that systematically.
Meanwhile, the owner of a shop which was gutted could not speak to this reporter. And eyewitnesses who refused to be put on camera have told this reporter that the fire was seen from a window on one of the upstairs shops of the building at around 21 hours. Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
3 people have died while one other has sustained serious injuries in a fatal road traffic accident that occurred along Solwezi-Chingola Road in the late hours of Friday, the 15th of October 2021. Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga has reported that among the deceased is Mubiana Mutumba, a 45-year-old engineer at Konkola Copper Mine, Amos Chikalaba, aged 36 of Mufulira Township, and Titus Malaya, aged 31 of unknown residence. Meanwhile, Lubanza Dixon, aged 41 of Kalilele Township, sustained a deep cut on the forehead, suspected fractured leg, left leg, and general body pains. The police spokesperson has explained that the accident occurred when Mr. Mutumba, who was driving a Toyota Corolla at high speed, whilst overtaking another unknown motor vehicle, lost control of the vehicle, went to the opposite lane and collided head-on with an oncoming Volvo truck, which was being driven by Crispin Mwadibamba, aged 30 of Ndola's Chinese complex.
Police recorded a fatal road traffic accident that occurred on 15th October 2021 at about 1950 hours at Kapisap area along Solwezi-Chingola Road. Involved was Mbiana Mutumba, aged 46 years, an engineer of Konkola Copper Mine in Chingola, who was driving a Toyota Corolla registration number AGB 635 along the said road from west to east, that is from Solwezi to Chingola, at high speed, whilst overtaking another unknown motor vehicle, lost control of the vehicle, went to the opposite lane and collided head-on with an oncoming vehicle, a Volvo truck registration number ACP 3705, which was being driven by Crispin Mwandibamba, aged 30 years of Ndola Chinese complex. Brief facts are that the accident happened when the said driver of a Toyota Corolla was driving at excessive speed, lost control of his motor vehicle, collided head-on with an oncoming vehicle. Due to the impact of the accident, the driver of a Corolla died on the spot together with 2 passengers, namely
CADRES Zambia Chief Executive Officer Eugene Kabilika has underscored the need to promote indigenous food and seeds in the country, as they are more nutritious than the junk foods people have become exposed to. Speaking at the 2021 Zambia Traditional Food and Seed Festival held in Lusaka, Mr. Kabilika says consuming too much of junk foods gradually collapses one's internal organs, leading to complications such as lung failure and death. Mr. Kabilika says there is need to promote the organic ways of farming to ensure that Zambia's crops are preserved for future generations. Meanwhile, the Human Rights Commission says the right to food and nutrition is among the human rights fundamentals that have been recognized over decades. More in the following report.
16th October 2021, Zambia has joined the globe in commemorating the World Food Day under the theme Safe Food Now for a Healthier Tomorrow. To show the importance of the event, institutions such as CADRES Zambia, Pelam Zambia, among others, organized a seed and food festival in Lusaka that attracted participants from other parts of the country who came to showcase traditional foods and seeds that the country is blessed with. The festival was organized under the theme Sustaining Traditional Food Systems for Nutrition in the COVID-19 world. And speaking at the event, CADRES Zambia Chief Executive Officer Eugene Kabidika has underscored the importance of preserving traditional foods and seeds, which he says are more nutritious than the junky foods that people have now become exposed to.
We are saying, as a people, let's go back to our roots, because our indigenous seed produces food that is more nutritious than the foods that we are eating today. Because these foods are not contaminated with any chemicals in them. As a result, they are pure and they are good for the bodies. If we do not eat health foods, what happens is that our internal organs begin to collapse slowly but surely. The problem is that we don't realize this until it is too late. When we collapse and we go to the hospital, then we find that they tell us our kidneys have malfunctioned. Our liver is no longer working.
He adds that small-scale farmers in the country produce 80% of food consumed, but that they are becoming more distracted by programs such as VEEP and the use of fertilizers, which is affecting the quality of foods produced.
Small-scale farmers produce 80% of the food that we eat. But I think we are confusing them because of the programs that we do, such as VEEP, the promotion of fertilizers and chemicals. That is disrupting the way we grow. So we have to shift and move towards agroecology, farming God's way. That way we shall protect our environment, we shall protect our soils, and we shall have healthy people living now and in the future, and those that are not yet born.
And Human Rights Commission Chairperson Mudford Mwandenga says every human being has a right to food and nutrition, which has been recognized among the human rights fundamentals.
The right to food and nutrition is among the human rights and fundamental freedoms that have been universally recognized over the decades. The right to food and nutrition is generally an inclusive right and is cross-cutting.
It is for this reason that nutrition should be seen as a top priority issue that requires an integrated approach to a number of challenges that are nutrition related. Hungry and malnourished people are not healthy people. Therefore, a secure food supply must be guaranteed in life to be for us to live healthily.
Zambia is a country endowed with good food and over 50 variety seeds which are healthier and more nutritious. The coming of fast junky foods is slowly taken away from the nutritious traditional foods that are fit for human consumption. It is therefore important for the country to go back to the traditional foods and seeds that has for several years enabled our forefathers live up to 100 years. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Minister of Justice Mulambo Haimbe says the putting in place of a legal framework which will stipulate what procedures should be followed in the selection of the Chief Justice should not be rushed. Mr. Haimbe, who was speaking during a public discussion on appointment of the Chief Justice Friday evening, says this is in order to put up a framework that will stand the test of time. The minister was also responding to calls from constitutional lawyer John Sangwa that the position of the Chief Justice should be advertised. We have more in this report.
Public debate has been ongoing in the past few days about the continued vacancy of the position of Chief Justice following the demise of the country's first female Chief Justice Irene Mambilima on 20th June 2021 in Egypt. Constitutional lawyer John Sangwa recently penned a letter to President Hakainde Hichilema for the position of Chief Justice to be advertised in order for the process of selection to be transparent. However, Minister of Justice Mulambo Haimbe stated that this position cannot be advertised as there is no constitutional provision for that. The two lawyers continued the debate Friday evening during a public discussion where Mr. Haimbe was of the view that while the suggestion to advertise was good, there is no framework in place to guide who qualifies to apply, hence the need to put up a framework that is holistic and will be able to stand the test of time. The Minister of Justice also asked that while advertising the position may be a good idea, this will not guarantee that the best person for the job will be chosen, as those who possess these qualities may not even apply.
The suggestion is brilliant. First of all, we want to hear the suggestions of other people for us to have a balanced approach. We do not take governance in such a way that when one section of society makes a recommendation, you simply jump and take it. What about the other section of society? Are you going to ignore their views? Are you going to ignore the views? They are heard views of the judiciary itself. There are those who are not able to speak for themselves. Are we going to ignore those views and simply take the views from an eminent citizen like Mr. Simon? The answer to that question is a clear no. We have to be responsible and practical in the way we do things, and to insist that this kind of appointment of the Chief Justice must follow this procedure which is not prescribed anywhere for that matter, is to say they are actually inviting to degree some anarchy.
However, constitutional lawyer John Sangwa has maintained that advertising will allow for transparency and scrutiny of candidates before they are sent to office.
But the problem is that we are not able to address these issues. But if you had a transparent system, it would allow people that have grievances to be able to state forward and allow the people that have been accused to be able to state their position. Okay? But because of the way the system is, we never know. We have no way of knowing. That is why I asked the question of the Honorable Minister, does he know the procedure that is undertaken? Okay? And I'm sure he's just making assumptions based on what he has read in the law. But the point is that a system like that should not be a secret. It ought to be transparent.
The Minister of Justice concluded by stating that the ministry will undertake further stakeholder engagement before a conclusion on the matter is made. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Opposition National Democratic Congress Party National Coordinator Joseph Kasonde has rubbished claims by former Defense Minister George Mpombo that the NDC faction president Joseph Akafumba has not been appointed to any position. In a walk-in interview with Camnet TV, Mr. Kasonde notes that Mr. Mpombo, as a well-respected former leader, should focus on providing proper checks and balances and appreciate fellow leaders who are doing everything possible to save the Zambian people. He notes that Mr. Akafumba is a well-respectable man who played a key role in liberating Zambians from the Patriotic Front through the alliance with no expectation, hence the need for Mr. Mpombo to appreciate such a manner without malice.
If he hasn't got what to do, this is what happens. So we are saying Mpombo is supposed to be quiet if he has nothing to offer. And at the same time, if he wants to attract attention from the Zambian people, I think it's very important for him to choose what to say. But let him give credit where it's due, unlike the way he wants to behave. If we compare Mpombo with our President President Akafumba, you will find that he is by far not a match to President Akafumba. Him is actually a loner and also a very negligent leader, Mpombo. But if you look at our president, he's a professional lawyer. You are talking of somebody who is an employer, a man who is patient, a person who is stable economically. And not only that, the survival of National Democratic Congress, NDC, I think it was because of President Akafumba having held us together as a party. Even the survival of the UPND alliance, because the PF at that time, they wanted to have the alliance broken down. But President Akafumba stood firm, encouraged us, and he couldn't afford to lose the alliance.
The United National Independence Party, UNIP, has called on the new administration to aggressively pursue the diversification agenda. Speaking to Camnet News, UNIP National Secretary for Youth Affairs, Mr. Boniface Chipala, says while commitments have been made previously, no significant action has been taken. Mr. Chipala states that areas such as aquaculture and livestock production should be actively explored, as they will also bring about the much-needed employment in the country. He adds that there is need for the new administration to actualize the diversification agenda by developing short and long-term goals of how this can be realized.
So farming cuts across several other, it wouldn't be only cereal cultivation, there's aqua and many other animal keeping that will contribute towards the development of the nation. So we think that the government in power now must pay particular attention towards agriculture and also enhancing capacity or life skills to the young people. We appreciate that in the last days, of course, PF made an attempt to ensure that people grow goats, people also grow chicken. Nearby here in Congo DR, I think they lack some of these things, so we can find market by the neighboring country. So if we can produce more chicken, we can produce more eggs, we'll be able.
You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
In our quest to serve nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is number one when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
Welcome back. We continue with Camnet News. Police have arrested Patriotic Front Lusangazi Council by-election candidate Patrick Banda for allegedly using a forged grade 12 school certificate to file in nominations as council chairperson for Lusangazi district. Police spokesperson Ray Hamonga says police in the district have charged and arrested Mr. Banda, aged 35, of Showgrounds Compound, Petauke, for the offense of personation of a person named in certificate contrary to the law. He says Mr. Banda has since been remanded in police custody and will appear in court soon. Brief facts of the case are that on the 30th of September 2021, the Electoral Commission of Zambia received nominations for council chairperson for the by-election to be held in Lusaka district of Eastern Province of the Republic of Zambia. It was during this exercise that Mr. Banda submitted a grade 12 school certificate certified by the Examination Council of Zambia, purporting the same to be his when in fact not. United Party for National Development UPND National Deputy Youth Spokesperson Phineas Pomolo has called on the local authorities to quickly move in and act on drivers who have developed a habit of parking outside bus stations so as to evade paying levies. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Pomolo states that drivers such as those operating from Lusaka's Lumumba bus stop are fond of parking outside the stations even when the provision of parking space inside the bus station is available. He states that while it is understandable for those who operate from bus stations that are full to capacity, there is a need for the local authorities to act on those who are practicing bad vices. More in this report.
In a bid to avoid paying levies to local authorities, some bus drivers in Lusaka Central Business District CBD have taken to indiscriminate parking of buses outside bus stations. This vice, however, has been robbing local authorities of funds and causing an inconvenience to other motorists. The United Party for National Development UPND administration recently announced that it will soon embark on construction of more bus stations to accommodate those without parking space. The trend of bus drivers indiscriminately parking outside designated places, even with space inside the bus stations, has worried UPND National Deputy Youth Spokesperson Phineas Pomolo, who has called on local authorities to move in and ensure that this vice is stopped.
People now have abandoned operating in empty bus stations like Lumumba and have opted to operate illegally in the roads, contravening. So I want to appeal to the minister to consult his other minister related to, so that they come up with a lasting solution, because contravening in the CTB has just worsened the situation.
He adds that while it is acknowledged that some bus stations are full, other bus drivers, such as those operating from Lumumba bus station, are practicing this vice even when there's space inside the bus station to avoid paying levies.
Go back at Lumumba bus station and operate in the bus stations, because there's enough space there. Where there's no space, we understand, but where there's space like Lumumba bus station, please operate within Lumumba bus station. Those buses which are going Garden House, there's too much contravening. You discover that in the bus station there's space. So I want to appeal to you to make sure that you go back and make it easier for the minister, as he's still working on the issues, to find the other alternative where other bus operators they can operate in, so that we finish this contravening issue.
He has further called on the local authorities to conduct an assessment and ensure that illegal parking of buses is put to an end. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Meanwhile, GEARS Initiative Zambia has described as unfortunate the arrest of the Patriotic Front candidate for the newly created Lusaka district, Patrick Menyanibanda, for allegedly being in possession of a forged grade 12 certificate. GEARS Initiative Constituency Coordinator in Msanzala has confirmed that Mr. Banda is indeed in police custody in Petauke for the alleged offense. In a statement, GEARS Initiative is saddened that the Electoral Commission of Zambia and the Examination Council of Zambia could authenticate the academic papers of Mr. Banda and validate his nomination based on forged academic papers, which have landed the PF candidate into police custody. He says this is a blow to the PF and to a competitive electoral contest ahead of next week's by-election in the area.
It is unfortunate that the candidate has been arrested on alleged possession of forged grade 12 certificate. Indeed, this practice of candidates having forged certificates as they aspire for elective position is becoming a common disease in the electoral process. And one wonders why we cannot find the manufacturers or suppliers of these forged certificates in our country. Further, we find it extremely saddening that the two ECZs, that is the Electoral Commission of Zambia and the Examination Council of Zambia, can pass such papers through their machines and verify them as authentic, and further validate the nomination of such candidates when they possess such alleged forged papers. We want to call upon the two institutions to invest in the installation of effective vetting systems or equipment so that the future can be bright, so that when we pass through those systems, we don't expect forgery after those systems.
And the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, has denied allegations that it has instructed police to arrest Patriotic Front candidate for the Lusaka Council chairperson elections for allegedly holding an alleged fake grade 12 certificate. ECZ Corporate Affairs Manager Ms. Patricia Luhanga, in a statement issued to Camnet News, says the Commission has received a complaint from the United Party for National Development questioning the successful processing of the nomination of the PF candidate who was said to be holding a questionable grade 12 certificate. She has, however, advised the UPND to make use of Article 54(2) of Constitutional Amendment Number 2 of 2016, which provides that the aggrieved persons can, within 7 days after close of nominations, challenge the nomination of a candidate before a court or tribunal. She adds that police in Eastern Province have, however, expressed interest in investigating the matter. Meanwhile, the ECZ Corporate Affairs Manager states that the Commission remains impartial in carrying out its duties. A United Party for National Development UPND youth official has challenged the former ruling party members, including its vice president, Given Lubinda, to desist from giving false allegations to tarnish the UPND reputation. Senior UPND youth official Moses Chinza has cited remarks by Mr. Lubinda, who allegedly accused President Hichilema of inciting violence by encouraging his members to revenge the PF members. Mr. Chinza says the statement by the PF Vice President should not be tolerated by any well-meaning Zambian, as it threatens the peace and unity the country has enjoyed. He has since called on Mr. Lubinda to criticize the ruling party with facts, given that President Hichilema is open to constructive criticism.
Is to actually advise and stand on Given Lubinda that he shouldn't take the Republican president for granted. For Given Lubinda to start throwing out some unwarranted attacks on the president, that is actually permitted the UPND cadres to carry out a vengeance against the PF cadres. I think for us it's actually unjustified. Given Lubinda must actually count it as a blessing with his entire PF, because if we really wanted to do what, to carry out a vengeance, we could have actually wiped out what PF. How many atrocities had they actually carried out against UPND at the time we actually in opposition? And if Given Lubinda is really a honest man, why didn't he actually talk against those atrocities that were actually carried out by PF cadres against UPND cadres? UPND President Hakainde Hichilema, who's also the Republican president, had made the point very, very clear that no cadreism, no vengeance, but law should actually take its own case. But it doesn't actually mean that the criminals, they must actually be protected. We know the criminals, those who belongs to the former party in the government, PF, and with or without the advice from UPND or the police, we are going to make sure that they face the long wrath of the law. So for us, they must actually count it as a blessing because they have got a president who's of no vengeance. So Given Lubinda, be sober-minded, accept that you actually lost what elections. It's time that you need to talk things that are going to be productive. You criticize the government constructively, not always being arrogant and adamant for nothing.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Stanley Kakubo has expressed happiness that Zambia's candidate for the United Nations International Law Commission, Likando Kalaluka, has been endorsed as a candidate for the election scheduled for November 2021 at the United Nations in New York. Mr. Kakubo says it is the intention of the New Dawn administration and government to ensure that the aspiration of seeing Zambians qualified to hold senior positions in international bodies is achieved. The 39th Ordinary Session of the Executive Council of the African Union has endorsed the candidature of Zambia's former Attorney General. The Executive Council adopted recommendations made by the Ministerial Committee on African Candidatures to International Systems. Mr. Kalaluka is recommended for the election of candidates as a member of the United Nations International Law Commission for the period 2023 to 2027. Africa has been allocated 9 seats in the International Law Commission. You're watching Camnet TV News. We take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
At Savenda Express Printing, we have the capacity to deliver quality in all kinds of printing services timely. Our lines of production include screen printing, embroidery, lithography, and large format printing. We take pride in delivering quality work at very competitive rates with our in-house, highly experienced and qualified designers. With the ability to print full color and embossing prints, our state-of-the-art screen printing machines are able to print 1,000 pieces per hour. Our embroidery machines are able to print any logo with 1 or up to 12 colors all at once and has an output capacity of 100 pieces per hour. Savenda Express Printing also does large format printing for billboards, banners, vinyl, car stickers, posters, tire covers, cups, pens, bags, flasks, packaging boxes, and well, just anything that can need printing. For inquiries, give us a call on 0960 344 471.
Are you a small to medium enterprise looking to advertise your products and services within your community and across Zambia? In these economic times, we are here to help you grow your business. Advertise with us on Camnet Market. Camnet Market is offering lower rates for prime time advertising between 06 to 18 hours every day to give your business an edge under the new normal and beyond. For more details, contact us on the following numbers: 097 975 3010 or 096 296 5883, as well as 096 244 726. You can also reach us via email on info@camnettvafrica.com. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We now look at international news. Police in Kenya have reported that a man who had confessed to killing a dozen children and escaped from detention this week has been killed by a mob. Area Assistant County Commissioner Cornelius Nyariba says the death took place near his home in Bungoma County, a day after he had escaped from police cells in Nairobi. For more of international news, here's a roundup.
The wind of change will blow this Sunday in Cape Verde when voters go to polls in presidential elections on Sunday. The poll is marked by debate over the future of a country battered by a slump in global tourism and worried by surging inflation. Nearly 400,000 voters, including over 50,000 outside the country, will choose a successor to George Carlos Fonseca, who's been head of state since 2011. There will be 7 names on the ballot paper, but all indications are that the race will be limited to candidates backed by Cape Verde's 2 main parties. Jose Maria Neves was Prime Minister of the country between 2001 and 2016, a record time in office validated by 3 victories at the polls. He has the support of the African Party for the Independence of Cape Verde and has Carlos Viega as his main opponent. Voting is expected to start at 7 in the morning and will finish at 6 in the evening. If no one wins more than 50% of the vote, it will go to a second round runoff between the 2 leading candidates on October 31. Sunday's election comes 6 months after the main opposition party, MPD, won parliamentary elections, beating the ruling party into second place. Burkina Faso has commemorated the 34th anniversary of the death of its revolutionary leader, Thomas Sankara. On Friday, President Marc-Christian Kabore laid a wreath at the Thomas Sankara Memorial and also unveiled a bust at the university that bears his name in Ouagadougou in the presence of his widow Miriam. On Monday, a trial to open investigations into Sankara's killing was opened, but was later suspended until October 25. I would like to salute the 13 grieving families for their courage, their dignity and their faith in the justice system of Burkina Faso. I congratulate the justice system of Burkina Faso for the work it has done, which today provides the military justice system with a file of more than 20,000 pages to ensure that the truth is revealed in this historic trial. 12 of the 14 defendants were present at the opening of the trial, including General Gilbert Dendere, one of the main leaders of the Burkina Faso army during the coup. Sankara had been in power for 4 years and was only 37 years old before he was killed in the coup d'etat on October 15, 1987, along with 12 of his comrades.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news, the Zambia Under-20 women's national team will face Congo-Brazzaville in the third round of the 2022 Costa Rica FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. Initially, the fixtures showed that the Young Queens would face Ghana, but the Confederation of African Football CAF has confirmed that the Young Copper Queens will face the Young Dabonese Rouges. The Young Queens beat the Young Scorchers of Malawi 8-1 on aggregate to progress to the third round, while Congo beat Egypt's Young Cleopatras 4-2 on aggregate to set up this thrilling encounter. Skipper Everine, Susan Katongo and company will have to put in even better performances as they face Congo despite the big 8-1 aggregate win in the second round. Other big match pairings will see Nigeria square off with Cameroon, while the Botswana of South Africa has been paired with Ghana. The Charles Halwano coached side will host Congo on the weekend of 3 to 4 December before traveling to Congo for the return leg of the weekend of 17 or 18 December 2021. That story brings us to the end of the news, but we take a look at the stories making headlines once again. 3 people die in a fatal road accident. Gears Initiative describes as unfortunate the arrest of a PF candidate. FFTUZ demands for informal businesses to bid for government contracts. And in international news, Cape Verde votes for president on Sunday. And in sports news, Young Copper Queens to face Congo in the third round. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, coming from Ecclesiastes 7 verse 9 to 11, and it reads, "Don't let your spirit rush to be angry, for anger abides in the heart of fools. Don't say, why were the former days better than these? Since it is not wise of you to ask this. Wisdom is as good as an inheritance and an advantage to those who see the sun." That brings us to the end of the news. Thanks for watching. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.